Okay, the new stream has begun. So I'm going to take a look real quick and see if you can actually hear me. I'm hoping everybody will find me over here. Crossing fingers, crossing fingers. Nothing like doing this live right here on the air. You just never know what's going to happen with a live stream. So let's see, and you can hear me now. This is the most bizarre thing. Thanks, everybody. I appreciate you showing back up. I don't understand what's happening. That's very odd because I test everything before I go live. So very curious how that's happening. I'm going to wait a few minutes and let folks come in. Take two, exactly. Good morning, Pamela and Tara and Dion and all the people. Wow. So you're not going to have the benefit of the show notes live right now then, or the links to all the things, but I will move all of those over as quickly as possible. So thanks for popping on. I'm just going to wait a couple minutes. Oh gosh, I used that dreaded word that people use when they're live. Popping on. I hate that when people say that. Anyway, thanks for hanging in there. Not sure what's happening. Thought we had all of that solved. If you have a chance to go over and copy the link and throw it in the other one, that'd be awesome. But if not, no worries. So let's just catch back up. Happy Saturday. So happy that you're here with me through the good times and the bad times. I'm Michelle with Olive and 2U Studios. I'm typically here every Saturday and usually with sound. Today we had a little bit of mix up with the sound. But I'm usually here. So welcome to you if you're watching later, and welcome to you if you are watching live. We definitely have a lot of fun things to get into today. And I've been super excited about this particular podcast. Lonnie says gremlins. I know, right? So Lonnie's here, Deb is here, Dion's here, Michelle is here, Jennifer's here, Katrin's here. I love it. Pamela's here, Lydia's here. Yay! Everybody's showing back up. So I appreciate that so much. Thanks, Jennifer. I appreciate that. This is one of my beautifully basic tees. And in fact, we just had somebody request a special order for this colorway for our beautifully basic tee knit along that's getting underway starting August 9th. So it is available to you on special order. It's not in the shop right now. Something similar, not exactly the same. This is a vintage Olive and 2U colorway. Hi, Cheryl. Good to see you here too. Everybody's rolling in. Deb is here until 10, and then she's got a hokey Zoom workshop. Interesting, you should talk about a virtual Zoom workshop, Deb. One of the really exciting things that I cannot wait to roll out, so I'm just going to do it right now because it's Christmas in July, is our brand new studio streams. Studio streams are a new thing that we're beginning. They are virtual events straight from the studio. And I have a whole lineup of virtual events that I'll be rolling out, studio streams that I'll be rolling out. And these are workshops and fun things that we can sit around the table together and do together. And our very first one is for Christmas in July, which we're going to be felting a snowman. Have you ever been interested in needle felting? I sure have been. I love all of the little figurines that you can make, the 3D figurines. And then in other cases, you're doing different types of felting. So there's a different type of felting where you're felting 3-dimensional sorts of items like bags and things like that. And then our Scotland travelers are going to be treated to a landscape felting workshop in Dumfries with Solway Studios. So I'm very excited about that. There's all different types of needle felting that you can do. But we're going to gather together as part of our very first studio stream and needle felt a snowman. Now, there's a little caveat to this. And that is that I'm rolling it out for Christmas in July. So you need to register right now for the workshop. It's not actually going to occur until August 16th, but that's okay. Why not a little more Christmas into August? But we're rolling out the registration right now. And it's going to be a lot of fun. Now, what you can look forward to in that is you're going to be shipped a kit that has everything that you need. You're not going to have to go out and source individual items for that at all. You're going to be able to get everything in your kit that's going to be shipped directly to you. So you can sit around the table with us during the studio stream and felt the snowman together. It's a workshop. We'll be doing it together, learning as we go. And I'm very excited about that. Additionally, studio stream attendees will also get access to a special coupon code for something during that event, as well as some other goodies and prizes potentially. So there's going to be a lot of fun during that. And I'm hoping that you'll gather around and help me to celebrate the very first studio stream event. So that will be August 16th. It'll be happening on Zoom, and we're going to record that event. So if you wake up and you're not feeling your best, or maybe something comes up that you can't be there for it live on Zoom, we're going to record that for you, and you'll have access to it for a few weeks after the event. So you can come back to it and view it at your pleasure, your leisure, or if you attend the event, you'll still be able to come into it later if there's something like, oh, what did they say about this? Or how do you do that little technique? That's going to be available to you. So it's going to be some persistent content for a limited amount of time after the event that will not be accessible unless you register for the event. So I've got some plans for that to kick it off. It's going to be a lot of fun. As I said, some coupon opportunities during that for some discounts during the event and all sorts of fun things. So right now, so the link was down below. It's not at the moment, but it will be later. But it's also in your newsletter this morning, or you can simply go on to our website and search Snowman or Studio Stream, and it should come right up for you. It's going to be a lot of fun. And I'm very excited about that because, like I said, one of the things about moving to Maine was deciding kind of wanting to do these sort of studio stream events so we can all gather together virtually. I'm very excited about that. I hope you are as well. And now is the time to go ahead and get your registration in for that event. Plus, you get to learn a new skill. And learning new skills is always fun. We're constantly adding to sort of our bag of tricks when it comes to fiber, I think, which is a lot of fun. So that's the very first thing that I just could not get away with saying. You know how I am. Somebody said yesterday, spill the tea. I got more tea to spill during this episode, I have to say. There's something else that's not even the bigger thing, but it is a very fun thing that you can be involved in. It is Christmas in July, and of course, Sherry and Terry have not disappointed. They have rolled out some beautiful new colorways for Christmas in July that I'm very, very excited about. And you are too, apparently, because there are some of these bases that have already sold out in the shop. So the first one is this gorgeous, lush green that is called Vine and Velvet. And I want you to see this beautiful green. Now, it's showing up a little lighter right now on camera because of the studio lights, but look at that lush green. It's tonal in nature, so you get some lighter spots and you get these beautiful darker spots. So it really has a depth of color that is, as you know, dyers, that takes time to be able to learn those techniques to achieve that depth of color, and they have definitely done it. So this is Vine and Velvet, and it's absolutely beautiful. Now, I'm going to tell you, Play-Doh and Rawlings were our first two to sell out. And Play-Doh, I've got a few more hanks coming to me in transit today. So they'll be here a little bit later in the week. So we'll get those shipped out to you as soon as they arrive. If you have previously ordered your Play-Doh, then it will definitely be shipping out to you Monday. But if you're ordering today and forward, it's going to be delayed by just a few days. But they had some more that they are shipping to us because it sold out so quickly. And when you see these lighter areas, that just adds interest to your projects. But here's the thing. You might go, oh, that's a really light area, or, oh, that's a really dark area. I don't know if I want that in my project. Yes, you do. And here's why. When this is caked up, you're not going to see a lighter area present altogether at a time or a darker area present altogether. You're just going to continue to see that undulation of color across your project. And that draws the eye, and it just adds so much interest to your project. That's one of the beautiful features of hand-dyed artisanal yarn. So this is Vine and Velvet, beautiful, beautiful colorway. And incidentally, it goes perfect with ribbon candy. Look at this. All your traditional colors with some not so traditional colors included in here, which I love. And you're probably going, what do you mean? That looks like red and green to me. Well, it is, but it too is tonal. So you've got these spring greens included in there. You've got these pink colors included in there. So it doesn't read Christmas, Christmas, Christmas. In fact, somebody asked on one of our posts on the business page today or yesterday, could I wear that all year or does that just scream too Christmassy? There is enough lighter color in this that I do believe you can absolutely wear it year round. It's all about your tolerance. I had a friend of mine in high school. He drove a green car with a red interior. And I used to tease him that he drove a Christmas tree. But there wasn't a lot of white on that car, which is totally different than ribbon candy. So check out Vine and Velvet along with ribbon candy, and you've got a perfect, perfect combination here. Colors are so beautiful. And again, once this cake is caked up, you know what caking does. It kind of separates the colors in your hank a little bit. It's so interesting to hear sometimes dyers do this as well as knitters or crocheters or fiber people. Dyers will often see something that they're dyeing in the pot or in the pan, and they'll kind of be thinking, that's not exactly what I wanted to achieve, or that looks different than what I wanted to achieve, or I'm not sure I like that. And then most often, once it comes out, it's rinsed, it's hanked, and then even more so when it's skeined up, caked up, they fall in love with it. And it's so true because a hank looks so different put together, twisted up like this than it actually does once it's caked up. Now I'm going to open this up so you can see the repeats. And there they are. So these are relatively short repeats, not super long, and it's going to cake up beautifully. Monica does a really good job of typically doing some video for us in the studio at Needleworks when she's caking up yarn. So I'll see if she can do that for you this week, but you don't want to miss out on this. I love the pinks and the darker burgundies in this. Beautiful. And then up against this green. Now, I posted last night because we don't typically do variegated colors on our beautiful, squishy, luxurious wolf base. That's our gray alpaca, silk, and cashmere base. And it really benefits, I think, from more solid or tonal colors. It has a gray base. It's not a creamy base like many of our other yarns come to us. And so that does affect the color dyeing a little bit, but it dyes it beautifully. And I love the jewel tones on it. And we've only got a few of these left. I don't have one to show you, but Vine and Velvet on Wolf is to die for. It is gorgeous. And I know many of you are absolutely in love with our Wolf base. If you haven't tried it yet, I really encourage you to order a hank or two of it. It is so pettable. I've said this before and I'll say it again. When we've gone to fiber festivals, very often people run up to the table, grab it, and they touch it and they're like, oh, I have to go show my friends because this is so incredibly pettable. So I really encourage you to take the plunge with Wolf. Try it in Vine and Velvet, and I think you're absolutely going to love it, or any of the other colorways. You might remember that Becky of Nomadic Knits designed her Audrey in it, and you can get 2 or 3 Audreys out of one hank of Wolf, which is a great way to start on some Christmas gifts during Christmas in July. So a hank of Wolf, if you divide that by 3, you're going to get about 3 Audreys out of that. That's really an inexpensive but beautiful gift that gives you great bang for your buck. So just want to mention that these are the 2 brand new colorways in the shop this week. There's more stuff on its way to us. The Cancer colorways will be debuting probably next week for this month. And there they are. Gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous. Okay, I see some of you going ahead and registering for our first studio stream. That is very exciting. It's going to be a lot of fun and a way to gather for that. Okay, so I need to fess up to something, and I hope you'll be gentle. The rumors are true. The rumors out there are absolutely true. Have you heard the rumor? I might have started one of the rumors myself. Curious. Have you heard the rumor? Has nothing to do with anything sorted. But it turns out that I am, in fact, going to be in Florida the first weekend in September. I booked my tickets last night, and I'm not coming just to hang out. Oh no, we've got plans. So stay tuned. Later this week, there's going to be a really big announcement about something coming the first week of September. And here's the thing. It's going to be both an in-person event and a studio stream. And you're not going to want to miss it. There's actually a little something in my background here that kind of, gives you a little hint, but I'm not going to tell you what it is. You have to figure it out. and then I'll announce it this week. But it's very exciting. And when I announce it, you don't want to miss out on it. It's one of the most unique events we've ever done before. It will be in conjunction with M&M So Charming, and I'm so much looking forward to it. It is totally unique, totally different, and it's been so much fun to plan. So stay tuned this week for a big announcement, but I will be in person at Needleworks on the first weekend of September, basically Friday, Saturday. And we've actually got 2 events that are in the works right now that I'm very, very excited about. So those announcements will be coming to you later this week. If you're local, I encourage you to go ahead and save the date. I hope you'll pop in and see us during the events at Needleworks. And if you're not local, it's no matter, because we're finally doing it. We're going to have a studio stream that is in conjunction with an in-person event, and you are going to be right there in the action, able to partake in all the ways. So I'm very, very excited about what's happening. The rumors are true. My tickets are booked, and it's going to be a very quick trip from Maine to Florida, but I'm looking forward to it. It's going to be a lot of fun. So what do you think? What do you think? You going to come? You going to be there? You going to partake in the studio stream? I really, really hope you do. It's going to be a lot of fun. So look for that big announcement this week. Finally, I know there's a couple of you that have been pinging me individually wanting to know what that announcement is. So you're not going to have to wait much longer. It is coming down the pike. All right, I'm going to go ahead and roll with our works in progress, because we have some FOs as well as works in progress. And then I want to talk about a pattern that I kind of chatted about a little bit during our virtual knit, crochet, spin, and weave in this week, and some other things happening in the shop. We actually have, I think, more FOs this week to talk about than we do works in progress, which might be a record. That's pretty cool. So Deb Feltz is starting us out right here, and she has 2 finished objects this week, and I think I missed the second one. That's terrible. I shouldn't have missed that. So she's got the Boo Shawl, which is Practical Magic, that she cast on over 2 years ago, and she finally got it off the needles. And then her Brickyard, which is her second FO. Oh, but she said it's not yet ready for a glamour shot. So that wasn't on me. That's good to know. I thought, I missed her second FO. That would not be good at all. But hopefully next week we'll capture that Brickyard. Next up, Lonnie Holt. So she submits to the state fair, I think maybe every year. And her 2025 edition, she mailed it off this week, and she has lots of projects. I don't have all the names for this, but you'll see the mica mitts in there. She's got that cabled cow by Marley Bird that she did, and some other projects that we've seen in the Yarny Use. I love that little 3D doggy. I think he's adorable. So all kinds of fun things that she submitted. Best of luck, Lonnie. We hope you clean the court. Next up, Tish Redden. She has 2 finished objects this week. The Jagged Tooth one is the Scala scarf, or Scala scarf. And then the other one is the Shine Bright Shawlette. And I love how those colors are both bright in their own way, but different. They look good. Well done. Tiffany is getting ready for our Beautifully Basic Tee knit along. That starts August 9th. That's very exciting. I know we're going to talk a little bit about those kits in a moment. She went stash diving, and there's nothing wrong with stash diving. A while back, I did kind of a stash dive survival guide, because all the yarn that we keep in our stash is just there waiting for us to find the perfect project. Tiffany's going to do a fade for her Beautifully Basic Tee, and like so many of you do, she kind of put it out to the hive mind to see what everyone's opinion is, and it was a big giant thumbs up for this particular fade. So I think that's what she's going to roll with. I love it. And that's a work in progress. Several of our folks right now finished up their Astro Pops. Marie Green did that kind of 4-day sweater knit along. And I love that there were people who didn't finish it during the 4 days, but kind of took their time, still working on it, or trying to get it finished, or like me, might have been inspired to start one. So this is Jamie's, her Astro Pop Tee, and she was doing it as a knit along with one of her local yarn stores, probably in conjunction with Marie Green's knit along. But I love it. What a great opportunity for beautiful, beautiful, splashy color work. It's so pretty. And then Julie Garland was also on the Astropop bandwagon in, I think, kind of more traditional colors maybe, but I love them both. I love that pop of green on Jamie's, and I love this red on this one. And she was just past the part for sleeve separation when Julie posted this particular picture. So it looks so good. Next up, Judy Conk. Judy finished an FO. She's got vanilla socks and a Freya yarn that we carry in the shop, Orchid. She purchased that yarn at our following retreat at Barnsley, and it looks so good. She's gifting those socks away to her granddaughter, and that's always a great use. When you love to knit, but you can't use all the things you knit, perfect. Give it away. Maria is finishing. She just finished up her color work on her Birkin, and it's beautiful. This is a great testimony to why you want to keep minis in your stash, because it's always wonderful to be able to draw on those and have different colors that you can choose from for things like color work or heels and toes and cuffs on socks, all the things. So Maria dipped into her stash here a bit, I believe. I think she's hoping to have this ready for a trip to Scotland. So I hope she does too, because it is gorgeous. So I told you a little bit this week that I have been working on one of my projects that was kind of tucked away in my project bag for a little while, and I've made a little bit of progress on it. This is my Korean poncho. I'm getting there. Did a couple of rows this week, which is better than what I had been doing during the move when I wasn't able to knit much. But this is my Korean poncho, and it's so soft. I'm holding a strand of fingering weight with our Bronte, which makes it so soft with that baby alpaca and silk. It's just wonderful. So I've made a little bit of progress on that. And then I didn't get it done yet, but it's in the works. You can see some behind me as well. This is my Amber Solstice yarn for our Beautifully Basic Tee knit along. And I can't wait to get this caked up and get it cast on. Remember, I'm going to be doing videos each week during our knit along, our make along for the Beautifully Basic Tee, to kind of just to talk about some of the techniques. They're not going to be tutorials. They're just going to be kind of showing you a little bit about what's going on with the pattern, especially so that if you're a beginner or somebody who maybe hasn't knit a sweater for a while, you can have a little refresh or a little hand holding for some of the techniques. So I'm going to get this caked up and cast on pretty quickly. I found my needles, so that's good news, and get it ready to go. But this is Amber Solstice. Now, those kits for the make along are still on the website. So I have some good news for you. If you had already ordered your Beautifully Basic Tee make along kit, they've been dyed. They've all been dyed for the first round of orders. They are en route to Monica right now, so she can get those in the mail to you in plenty of time for you to get yours caked up and ready to go for our make along. The listing, though, is still up on the website. So if you're like, oh, I wish that I had gone in on that, you still can. You can either stash dive or you can order a kit on the website. They're still dyeing. So if you order a kit now, they'll get it dyed up as quickly as possible. We don't guarantee it'll get to you in time for the August 9th start at this point, but the good news is it doesn't matter. You can start anytime you want. In fact, I think some people have already cast on, and you don't have to have a finished object in order to be prize eligible. All you have to do is have progress pictures. We choose the winners from the progress pictures that are posted in the official thread, which is already linked up in the Yarn Use. So super easy to play along, and you don't have to have your kit right away. So the kits are still available on the website. There was this, I made them available for a little longer, and then I took them down like I said I was going to do, and then more people messaged and were like, oh, wait, I really want those kits. And so I was like, you know what, I'll put it back up and you'll get it when you get it, but they are on it to get things dyed. They're actually for special orders and for those sorts of things. They're actually turning around special orders pretty quickly. They are so busy in the dye studio, and they're absolute geniuses with color. So the Beautifully Basic Tee knit along is still available to you. We started August 9th. And let's see here. Oh, I had something I was going to show you this morning, and apparently it went the way of the sound. So I'll try to get that back up for you as well, because I wanted to share with you a little bit about the fact that the Beautifully Basic Tee was designed with olive and 2U yarn. It appeared in the very first issue of nomadic knits, and which is really kind of cool. And I kind of had some retro video for you and some photos to kind of show you the pages of that magazine. Now you can still purchase the Nomadic Knits magazine in a digital copy right there on Ravelry. And you get, I believe it's 9 patterns, which is a fantastic value for your money rather than just buying the one-off pattern. And if you purchase that magazine, you're going to see the olive and 2U yarn mentioned and the photographs with the olive and 2U yarn when it was very first designed. So I'll post that up a little bit later on the video if you watch this later, and or I'll also put it in the Yarn of Use so you'll be able to see it, because it's really kind of a fun retro, kind of a little flashback about kind of the history of the Beautifully Basic Tee and Olive and 2U Studios. So I love that so much. We were a very young company when that came out, and Nomadic Knits was also a very young company. And so it's kind of an interesting story about kind of one of the very first collaborations that we did. And one of the very first collaborations, you know, we were one of a few dyers in that first edition. And so as companies begin, they have to begin somewhere. So that was a really neat thing that came together. I love what Kim's attitude is. There's always time for a BBT. I completely and utterly agree with that. Totally, totally true. And then I'm going to just show you really quickly also, this is what you'll see when you go on the website and see our very first studio stream. This is the Snowman Needle Felting. And again, as I mentioned, Saturday, October 16th, 2 p.m. is when we'll start, but it will be Zoom and it will be recorded as part of our very first studio stream, so you'll have access. And my plan for our studio streams is always to have extra little goodies along the way for those who join me for those events straight from the studio. So you want to get in on the very first one, because I've got special things planned for our very first participants in our very first studio stream. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. All right. So we've got clubs. Yes, August. Did I say October? It's August 16th. Did I say October? I got to stop this. This has been like all kinds of errors today. I don't know what's going on. It's very odd. And I've had all my tea this morning. So I think my second cup was PG Tips, not Brody's, though that might have something to do with it. So thank you for the correction. All right, the clubs have been opened and they are just about to close down. We've gathered some new Socksy Ewe folks into the flock, as well as some new Salinger Pop Club folks into the flock, as well as some literary, Spin Me a Yarn Literary Society folks into the flock, but those are going to close very soon. Now, Spin Me a Yarn Literary Society is a quarterly club, which means it's not particularly onerous financially, and you just get a box every quarter. A lot of our members have already begun reading our very first book, which was announced in our private Facebook group. And there are 2 connections that I've so far uncovered in that book, and I've kind of got a little thing happening in our private Facebook group about that. And it's going to be a lot of fun. We've got a lot of activity in the Spin Me a Yarn Literary Society private Facebook group as well, but that will close this week. And then our Salinger Pop Club, remember, that is a $13 a month subscription. It's such a low entry level subscription. It gets you a brand new colorful mini every single month, along with a coordinating stitch marker. And Michael from Twin Mommy Creations is the creator behind those stitch markers, and she always knocks it out of the park, just like Sherry and Terry do when they dye up our Salinger Pop Club. Salinger is a luxurious mini base. It is very much like our Homer. It is superwash merino, cashmere, and nylon. It's an MCN that's very nice. And again, those little pops of color are fantastic to have in your stash, because you never know when you're going to need something. And gathering those throughout the year is a great way to have an array of colors. Sometimes they're variegated, sometimes they're speckled, sometimes they're split hank, sometimes they're tonal solids. It's just a whole festival of dye techniques that you end up with your Salinger Pop Club. Any of these clubs you can always cancel at any time if you find that you need out for some reason or the other. And then our Socksy Ewe Club, of course, is our sock yarn club. And what's very awesome about it is you can choose either our Twain fingering weight sock yarn, or you can choose our Play-Doh DK weight sock yarn. It comes with a coordinating mini in the corresponding weight that you need. And so again, beautiful brand new colors that they're dyeing. And most often those are fairly exclusive. We reserve the right to bring those into the shop at some point, but they're not usually brought into the shop. So it's a great way to get some brand new color if you're somebody who knits a lot of socks, or even if you like shawls. I've seen people combine hanks that they've received in their Socksy Ewe club and put them together in shawls or even sweaters down the road. But it's a great way, again, to gather beautiful, beautiful color. So Socksy Ewe and Salinger Pop Club are monthly clubs, and then our Spin Me a Yarn Literary Society is a quarterly club. So there is something for everybody, and I really encourage you to participate, especially if you're new to the flock. It's a great way to sort of get a taster of Olive and 2U yarn and see all the beautiful ways that Sherry and Terry are dyeing up the yarn for use in your projects. But those are going to close probably this week. I had planned to close Spin Me a Yarn Literary Society, but we've got a yarn shop out in California that's interested in getting involved with some of their folks. And so I've kept it open a little bit longer. So what's not going to stay open longer, that's going to close July 31st, are our 12 Days of Christmas and 8 Nights of Hanukkah calendars. And I know some of you who are fairly new to the Yarn Use have been getting in on those. Those will close July 31st, and you won't be able to get access to those again. And those are a lot of fun. So 12 Days of Christmas starts when? Let's say it all together. The 12 Days of Christmas starts Christmas Day, and it goes for 12 days after Christmas Day. So what you receive is a little bag or a little box to open each of those days, or you can cheat and open it whenever you want. And you're going to receive minis, you're going to receive goodies that aren't minis, and then you're going to receive one 100-gram hank as part of that. And then your 8 Nights of Hanukkah, you receive the same sorts of things, minis, goodies, and a full hank, but they're different from the 12 Days of Christmas, because Christmas and Hanukkah are two very different holidays. And so they're different. Now, what a lot of our Yarn Use like to do is they buy both, and then they've got all the goodies instead of having to choose. So those are still available for you right now until the end of July, and then they're closed up, and there will be no more of that. So, whew, that's a lot in the shop right now. Definitely a lot in the shop. And then we've got our Scotland trip that we're looking forward to in September. Now, if you're traveling with us to Scotland in the next week or so, you're going to be on the lookout for an email. I'm going to be sending one out requesting, if you haven't already sent me your flight information details, as well as any dietary restrictions. Say you're allergic to something or you're a vegetarian. We like to gather all of that so we can provide it to the folks who are going to be providing food to us. I have to say, I've had some really neat conversations this week with some of our vendors, Neil and Janet from Kitchen Coos and Use. We had a little email exchange this week, and they're really looking forward to our Yarn Use coming again this time. And that was so much fun. Remember, we go out, we get to visit with the Coos and that, and then we get this phenomenal cottage farm afternoon tea, which, to call it tea is just not enough. It's this huge lunch. And then I've been in touch with Anne from Solway Woolscapes, where we're going to be doing our felting landscape workshop in Dumfries, and some really exciting things have happened there. We are a group that's too large for their actual little studio, and so they have moved us. We're going to be on this campus, and we're going to be meeting for this workshop in the Dyer Spinner Guild room on this fantastic campus. But we're not just going to be meeting in their room. Several of our members are going to come to meet with us for this workshop and visit with us. They wanted to meet crafters from America. And so we're going to be meeting with them, and they're serving us a Scottish themed lunch. And she sent me the menu. They're going to have tiny Scotch eggs. I suspect they're quail eggs, but little tiny Scotch eggs on the menu, along with, shortbread and all of the things. So that's early in the tour, and I'm so looking forward to that. Of course, we're going to be at the wonderful wool shop that Julie has in Galashiels after we visit the Scottish Tapestry. And her local crafters are going to be there as well. That's going to be fantastic. She's been wonderful. Julie and I have been talking ever since that trip where I met her. We've kept up a relationship and still have plans to connect our Yarn Use with her folks at her wool shop as well. And so we're going to be meeting with her. Jess at Ginger Twist is looking forward to hosting us there for a private shopping experience. And then, of course, we've got our slow stitching workshop at Dovecot Studios in Edinburgh. And we have almost a full day in Edinburgh where you're going to be able to sort of make your own itinerary. Laura, who's our tour guide, is very good about either pointing us in the direction of things we might be interested in, or even kind of coordinating some little walking tours for us while we're there. So very much looking forward to that as well. So it's been fun connecting again. I always stay in touch with our vendors, and as they're planning our experiences for our time in Scotland. And so super, super looking forward to all of that. But in the meantime, we've got things to knit up for Scotland. I've seen Lydia talking about things that she is knitting or planning. I think she's planning another sweater. And I posted in the Yarn of Use the Ooey Gooey by Andrea Mowry that's just come out. So this is the Rhinebeck sweater that she's published for this year. I am smitten with the color work on this. I think it's so sort of off the beaten path of typical yoke color work. And I've seen some really amazing color combinations. Now, we talked a little bit last week about Ravelry and how you can do a deep dive into the projects for patterns to get ideas for color work. This is one that even if you don't love it, I would recommend you go on Ravelry and take a look at. I'm not like a paid promoter for Andrea Mowry or anything like that. I just really liked it. But if you go in the projects, you can see some of the color work choices, and they are all over the map. So it's really a great place to get some inspiration for color work. So I bought the pattern. I broke down and bought the pattern because I don't have enough to knit right now. I need to finish my Corian, casting on my BBT. I still have my September sweater that's caked up. I'm really, really, really wanting to do this. So I'm hoping maybe today or this weekend to do a little bit of coloring to kind of plan out some color work and see what I can talk Sherry and Terry into dyeing up for me. So I'd love to know in the comments if you're interested in doing the Ooey Gooey. I'm not looking to do like a formal knit along, but there might be something informal we could put together for this, because I think it's a lot of fun. My chances of getting it done before the Scotland trip are probably slim to nothing, but you know, it doesn't hurt to try. I do have a ghost knitter who's really talented too. So that's a possibility as well, because I love, love, love this sweater. So I'd love to hear what you think about the Ooey Gooey. Let me know if you're in the comments, if you're thinking about it. And I'd love to see kind of what color combinations you're thinking about putting together. Definitely had some requests lately for special orders. I mentioned that with this. This is a beautifully basic tee in a vintage olive into you colorway. I mentioned that with regard to that. And I know so many of you were doing special orders as well. And we can absolutely get those dyed up for you. Kim, we're in the same boat, right? Cast-on-itis, I agree. But I'm thinking there are worse maladies to be afflicted with than cast-on-itis. I think that's one of the best ones. And the only cure that I know is to just keep knitting or just keep crocheting and doing all the things. A good friend of mine has an FO this week, but I haven't seen I've seen a picture of her in it, but I didn't have her permission to post it. I'm hoping she'll post it in the Yarn of Use. You know who you are. I want to see it on you in the Yarn of Use. Beautiful, beautiful stuff. And you know, if you have cast-on-itis and then you get it done or even in progress, you can post your pictures and kind of ride on the enthusiasm of the Yarn of Use for that. I think it's a lot of fun. So knitting all the things, doing all the things, it's the only way to go. Speaking of doing all the things, do you notice anything different about this podcast? Besides the fact I, again, didn't have sound at the beginning of it, but we fixed it. Anything different? Anything? Did you notice a new background? The folks who showed up at our virtual knit crochet spin and weave in this week noticed it. This is one part of the studio that's actually coming together. So I'm broadcasting today, not from the typical nook where I broadcast, but this is another area of the studio. And the studio is still in progress. I keep saying I'm making a lot of progress, and I think y'all are probably going, really? Really? We're not seeing it. Now you're seeing some of the progress. And so this will be the area where we'll do the studio streams from as well. I have a wonderful little table here that I'm able to work on to broadcast from for either podcasts or the studio streams, but this will definitely be where I do the studio streams. Probably continue to do the podcast for the most part in the podcasting area, but it is all coming together, and I'm starting to get super excited about a studio tour when it's completely together. But I'm going to make you wait till I feel really good about it, and I'm excited to show you all the things. Jim today is actually putting together yet more furniture. Today, what he's putting together is my little, my furniture for my tea corner, because yes, I'm having a kettle up here. I have a small refrigerator already for up here so that I can have a place to make tea regularly. I learned when we arrived in Maine this winter that number one, everybody knows I drink a lot of tea, but number two, going up and down the stairs from the first floor to the second floor with tea in my hand was a recipe for disaster because it was going to slosh everywhere. So I decided back then, and I went ahead and ordered my refrigerator. It's been sitting in the box, that I was going to have a tea corner in the studio. And so he's putting together a piece of furniture today for my tea corner. So we are definitely getting there. And I'm so excited about all of the things. So there's so many things on the horizon. Speaking of, if you've been on the website lately, you might have noticed a refresh. It's not complete yet, but I've done a refresh of the front page of our website, and I'm slowly working through it to make it hopefully a little bit more navigable, a little easier to navigate so that you can find all of the things that you want. So that's in progress. Right now, you're just seeing the front page predominantly, but you'll see some new things appearing on there. We've got Sherry and Terry added to the About Us section because they are the dyers, exclusive dyers behind the Olive and 2U brand. And I wanted to make sure and put a little spotlight on them because they do such a fantastic job. And yeah, so updates abound. We are very busy at Olive and 2U Studios and looking forward to my trip to Florida. Do stay tuned this week, as I mentioned, for that big announcement. Valera asked if it had anything to do with baseball. Yes, it does, Valera. This is what you've been waiting for. It'll come later this week. So stay tuned. It's going to be exciting. You're not going to want to miss it. And it is in collaboration with M&M So Charming. It's going to be a lot of fun. And it's going to be, like I said, one of the most unique events we've ever done at Olive and 2U Studios. All right, everybody. I hope you have a wonderful Saturday. I know some of you are dealing with incredible heat waves. I think Lonnie is dealing with one of those out in the Dallas area. And yeah, so it was in the 90s here this past week, but now today it's 60 something outside and beautiful. And I am loving the weather in Maine, I have to say. Now that we got some AC units and a way to cool things off on those really hot days, it makes it much more bearable. But I know that our summer is much shorter compared to what the summer feels like in Florida. But the good news is there's always the cooling effect of friends in our Yarn Use Facebook group. So don't forget, go ahead and join the Yarn Use if you haven't done so already. Be sure to go ahead and subscribe to the Olive and 2U YouTube channel here. Give us a thumbs up, please, if you've liked any of this today. And thank you for being here through the chaos of the audio. And keep in mind, we are always around to help. Customer service is absolutely in our DNA. So I look forward to seeing you in the Yarn Use. Thanks for being here. Appreciate all your support, and we'll see you in the Yarn Use. Take care. Bye-bye.